Alright, so in this video I want to talk more, something a little bit different. I've talked a lot about supplements and in particular nootropics, but in this video I'm going to talk more about ways to enhance your mental faculties that don't involve any kind of pharmacology. But I'm not really going to get too much into the details of how to do that, any of the specific techniques. It's going to be kind of like a primer or an introduction to, I don't know, the whole topic. So, I guess to start off, I kind of think of different levels of your mental functioning. Like this isn't exact, this is just kind of a rough way of thinking about it. There's overlap, I might have categorized things in the wrong way, but you think of some things as more like brain power, which would be like maybe working memory, processing speed, that sort of thing. Lower level things that are more, I don't know, I would say maybe more intimately tied to the hardware that you have in the brain. And then there's higher level things, like there's really high level things like learning biology or physics or something, okay? In the middle, there's kind of general skills that they're not quite so broad as, or I'm sorry, they're not quite so specific as physics or biology, but they're broader, they're more learned than like working memory or processing speed. This is just, again, a really rough way. I mean, don't read too much into this. It's just kind of a really loose, intuitive way of, I think, dealing with this. So, as some examples of like what I mean, these are 4 big examples of things that I think of in those terms. The things that are general cognitive abilities that can be sort of trained or worked on in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of non-pharmacological ways that I have of dealing with this. In fact, these are, I don't think even there's many drugs, with the exception of one of these, that will be of much use as far as what I know. Sorry, I got this nasty board too. I gotta clean it off. I got some coffee stains and shit all over it. But anyway, so one of them was like problem solving. There's creativity, critical thinking, and memory. These are 4 things that are pretty general skills that aren't necessarily super low level either, you know? They're not like things that we necessarily tie to brain power. Some of them, I mean, maybe, you know, problem solving, we might, I guess, that's kind of thrown in there like with intelligence. That's kind of, I think, you know, a lot of how you might interpret an IQ test has to do with, like, you know, some correlation with your ability to solve problems, for example. Memory is the one that I thought was actually well, that you might be able to address with drugs. I think, you know, Bacopa, for instance, is supposed to be good for memory. And then, you know, creativity, I think maybe the psychedelics could be of some use, or cannabis, you know. Obviously, if there's anything out there that's good for creativity, maybe it's those. But I just want to look at some of these in more detail, though, because I think creativity is one of the ultimate skills. It kind of involves problem solving. There's some overlap with critical thinking. I think that creativity, the way we define it, the way a psychologist would define this, the way I certainly like to think of it, is that it's not necessarily like an artistic creativity where you just, you know, think up weird things. Like, you have to be able to address some sort of a problem. And so it's true creativity is basically creative problem solving. It's about being able to come up with a novel solution to a problem. You might be good at problem solving, but maybe you're just good at solving more routine problems. Maybe you're not good at thinking of novel solutions. Creativity is really ultimately the thing that, if you're going to be, you know, like a scientist or an inventor, like, you know, an engineer who just does something that changes the course of humanity, this is all going to be due to creativity. Like, the things that we really think of, all the geniuses, the people that are considered geniuses in history, those are pretty much all people who in some way, shape, or form had creativity. That's what, you know, the big game-changing things are a product of creativity. So, like I said, I'm not going to give you specific techniques for addressing these things. It's kind of a primer. These things, there's plenty of non-pharmaceutical ways that you can work on all of these, and they are to be thought of, I think, more as a skill than some lower level brain function that you would just take drugs to improve. Maybe in the future they'll come up with drugs that will help us with this, but I think for right now this is the way to think about it. So I think in later videos I want to talk about how you would approach these, how you would approach the problem of increasing these things. And so there's, again, this list is not exhaustive, and there could be some overlap. You know, you might think of things in a different way than me. Like memory, that's one that maybe you could classify as being a lower level function, but I mean, however you classify it, there's a lot. I've already listed these because I'm already aware of several ways that you can improve all of these without drugs. So I've just done, when I think about the ways that we have to improve these, just drugs don't come to mind, really. Like, I mean, honestly, if you want to know what works, I know we all like to take pills that just help us get better, but I think still training is the best way to improve these. So I guess that's it for now, but I just basically wanted to say that these are some things that I want to address. I kind of want to just see what the response is for this video, because I don't know how much people who watch this channel are going to be into other ways that they can improve their cognition. I don't know if you all just want to hear about, you know, drugs and research chemicals or whatnot, but the other thing that I wanted to say about this is that these general skills often are very much tied in with the more specific skills. So, for instance, critical thinking is a general skill, but getting better at critical thinking is a lot of times going to involve specific skills in different fields. Same thing with like problem solving and like, you know, it's just that they're hard to isolate too much on their own. But I'm going to get into that. And the other thing that there was one more thing that I wanted to address. That was that I don't remember what it was. But I'll probably remember in a later video, and it's not too important. So stay tuned for that. I will make another video soon because it's been a while since I made one. So depending on how much of a reception this video gets, you can look forward to a lot of these. Although it might not necessarily be, the next one might not necessarily be about this. I was wanting to remake Ashwagandha video, but I'm definitely wanting to discuss how you can actually improve these. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.